Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Is it not showing up? Um. Dun dun dun. Na, na, na. Let's only have this for now. Let's start. No, continue. Let me see if it's capturing it. And then. Alright, let's go. You're lying. Lady Claudette saw you in Nimes. Tears of snot ran down her face. She was holding a vintage 610 bottle of wine. She gripped the neck of the bottle and flung it at the wall where Gumi was standing. But just in time to avoid the glass. Cherry. Don't you cherry me, bastard. We're not taking it out on my wine collection again. Captain threw another bottle in response. Stop, Captain. You're going to hurt yourself. Hurt myself? Like you care. You told me you're off to Avignon last weekend, but you're actually in Nimes? Why are you making this into a huge deal? So I had to stop over at a neighboring town. It's a lie if you omit things. I told you at the very least of this relationship with me. I want 100% honesty from you. And I told you as well. I have a reputation. Rumors follow me. Idle mouths can't help but chatter. You know that Lady Claudette once indecently proposed to me. And right in her husband's birthday gathering as well. So what? That is all beside the point. You know what they say. When there is smoke, there is fire. How about a name to further torch the bush? Lalaine de Monticlair. Lalaine is a shop girl of the town. A nice girl. Or at least I surmise from all those 3 times I made the mistake to enter the shop. That looks like. Is there anything else you would like to insinuate? Oh, nothing at all, sire. Why? Is there anything I should know? Me signed and tried to speak calmly. Teddy, I promised you when we got engaged, didn't I? I will be faithful to only you. There is no one else. Catherine gritted her teeth. Again with this. You're more vague than a monkey spit. Answer me straight right now, yes or no. Are you having an affair? Rumi threw his hands up in annoyance. Merde, chattered Catherine. I am not. I have already answered that. Why does it seem like you only hear what you want to hear? I just want to understand everything and make it crystal clear. Is that so bad? Now explain to me what Lady Claudette... Lady Claudette, you're taking that bitter, conniving woman's words over mine? Well, I try to get information from the source, but the source isn't very reliable. Gumin's shoulders slumped in an irritated surrender. She heard him curse under his breath. I'm tired of this calf. This is a waste of time. What is the point of this if we keep going around in circles? Catherine snuffed, wiping her nose savagely with her hand. You always do this. You go off on a tangent and pick things apart. You don't even listen to my side at all. Would you stop acting like a child for 1 minute? Maybe then we can have a real conversation. Conversation with a liar is always one-sided. Catherine grabbed 2 bottles this time. But what happened as she brought the 2 bottles crashing in front of her? A piece of glass stabbed her face. Her eyes, maybe? What a random thought. The morbid picture gave her an out-of-body experience. It was a nasty fight. Depressingly familiar. But they were dancing to the same tune once again. Here be the lovers. To your left, the hothead. Watch her dance with anger blazing. Tears are sparkling bitter rage. The fight goes on until she's spent. reason hazy in her head. Pan right, a rake. Both the victim and accused. Words are poison for unlit fuse. Migraines taught his pride and temper. Grudgingly takes on logic's mantle. The words we throw reach fever pitch. Dance will crest, will choose to leave. Enough of this, he says, in rage. Temper rising, he exits frame. Her unspent fervor burning hot. Cries it off, that cowardly snot. What do you expect, she asks herself. Take abuse with a bowed head. The least he could do. Anger shouts. A hint of guilt, a hint of doubt. A migraine throbs as he is pacing. Annoyed and anger, his face a flush. Capricious woman, irrational. Shakes his head, tired breath. Yet he basks in torture and savors the taste. This is love, he nods. This is love, he says. Love and pain go hand in hand. It's painful, yes, never bland. He nips a morsel, takes a bite. Exquisite. Trembles. They rush. He charge. Feels his heart is struck by love. Decides that it is worth the gripe. Anti-flower he must protect. To watch it bloom until it's ripe. Not right now, he says, still sore. His pride's too hard to swallow whole. Hours pass. Wouldn't call. He forms the words she knows will hurt. She plans to cut and make him bleed. Yet when he arrives, she all but weeps. Why'd you leave? I shouldn't have. Are you angry still? Here now, love. Her arms are snug upon his neck. Her promise to change, to do what's best. For both their sakes, he admits he's wrong. They'll lie to complete the song. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you love. Just tell me when you're tired of me, or when you find some other pretty thing you... Catherine slipped back into her brain just as the last sentence left her lips. Going to leave me, then just leave. Stop playing me for a fool. This was a new tempo. She dropped the bottles to her side, but did not let go. He noticed the change of song, and time to step accordingly. Never once thought or treated you like a fool. I love you. Never going to leave you. New tears churn and bubble from her eyes. Liar. It was her turn to leave this time. She did. He was left to perform her solo. Contemplation, regret, penance. A vow of new beginnings forming in his head. Calf? Rosie Wosie! And stumbled into Rosa's room that evening, drunk to high heaven. Her half-lidded eyes surveyed Rosa's meager space. She left herself fall on the bed, regretting it instantly. Sitting spun in a waltz of throbbing headaches and acid-laced throats. Bad idea. Katrin stood up. Her wobbly legs tripped her. Rosa caught her and sat calf on her small bed. My goodness, you stink of alcohol. Dropped some pillows behind her back and fixed the stray hairs that had littered her face. Thanks, hun. You're dear. How much have you had, Gaff? Catherine counted on her fingers. Never mind. Would you like some water? Nope. Interesting. Huh? I can almost hear liquid sloshing around in my brain when I shake my head. Rosa pursed her lips. Catherine was in no shape to make decisions right now. Lit up. Something to sober up. Catherine grabbed Rosa's hand and tugged at it gently. Oh no. You. Sit. Please? Rosa complied. Catherine revealed the bottle about 3/4 full. Snuck another one from the Gilly Monster's closet. Serves him right for calling me a child. Rosa began to protest. Captain paid her no mind. Come on, Rosa. When have we ever drunk ourselves to the point of insanity? I call you my best friend. Captain took a huge swing of the bittersweet liquid and offered it to Rosa. Rosa examined it carefully and took a mouthful. She gargled it in her mouth, marring the sweet, sour flavor of the wine. Never had anything this rich before. Good, right? It had to be. The last bottle. Oh, another fight with good. Shush. Bad wind follows that name. I am not talking about the egocentric pompadour tonight. We are going to drink. We are going to reminisce. And tomorrow we'll hate ourselves together. Agreed? Rosa giggled. If you say so. alright, last one. Rosa puffed her cheeks in mock disgust. Fine. How do you make holy water? How? Boil the hell out of it. Rosa and Catherine was assaulted by fits of hysterical laughter. Catherine felt the muscles of her cheeks ache. This is so bad, I don't even have the words. Catherine wiped the tears of laughter from her eyes. Heard that from one of your suitors, sire, Adrian. Rosa rolled her eyes. How come I always end up talking to your suitors more than you? Must start changing you. I must start charging you a fee. I'll play with gratitude. What is wrong with Sir Adrien? Anyway, seems like a nice man. Nice hair, nice teeth, nicely groomed, mutton chops. The woman laughed. But what? I am not interested in a relationship at the moment. At the moment? You don't seem interested ever. I am. Sometimes. It's just hard to connect to people for me beyond physical. Relationships seem out of the question. You don't have any difficulty with me or that idiot in the upper room. It means you're not incapable. That's only because you're my closest friends. Well, there must be someone. You're so picky. If you go on like that, you might end up an old maid. So be it. I better take care of your children anyway. I shall be an amazing grandmother. Captain smiled wistfully. I'm not sure I want any. What? Children. I love children, but a little scary. Catherine bit her lip. What if she becomes her own mother? It was such a terrifying possibility, wasn't it? Barely remembered her mother. Her malady had struck as soon as Catherine was born. She had never called Catherine by her name, not even on the day she had died. All she knew was that their family struggled with that crisis. Her father, exhausted and depressed, and her sister forced to grow up too fast. To be a blight to the people you love. How horrible would it be? Catherine. Rosa smiled at her, interrupting her thoughts. You'll be a good mother. You'll be a good mother. Your past does not matter. Catherine stared at Rosa, almost enchanted at her ability to know what she was thinking. She really was her best friend, wasn't she? Thought warmed her heart. Really think so? Yes. The fact that you are so concerned about them before they're even born, so much of your kindness. Whatever happens, those children will grow up loved. Captain blushed and changed the subject. We're out of booze. We finished it. I'm quite buzzed. Hey, remember the first time we drank? You mean the party or the potato incident? Of course I meant the potato incident. Oh, how can I forget? Rosa burst out laughing. That was hilarious. Wench, stop blasting. I almost went to jail. Goodness, I was so stupid. Rosa laughed again. Ahem. You're supposed to say, no, Captain, we do dumb things when we're young. Captain, we do dumb things when we're young. About time you learned your lesson. Can't wait to tell your children endless tales of your shenanigans. Inch. Captain grabbed Rosa's waist and attempted to tickle her, but Rosa slipped away laughing. Captain's stomach lurched and she stopped, her hand still hugging Rosa's waist. The room spun, but it wasn't pleasant. She felt like being knocked in a cradle. Closed her eyes and smiled. She took in Rosa's scent, always smelling slightly like apples. Rosa scratched her head and smoothed her hair. This is nice. Yes. Rosa? Thank you for being with me. Of course. Oh, I mean... She sat up on the bed. Been with me all my life. You are my oldest friend. When we first met, I didn't have many friends. I just studied my piano lessons, night and day, because that's all I ever knew to do. That was all I had. I mean, that's why I begged Papa to let you stay with us. I was so happy. I also smiled fondly at the memory. You were there for me. Always. Ugh, that sounds disgustingly melodramatic. You're drunk, I understand. He laughed again. Would you like to hear something worse? What? Changed my life. Ugh, that is worse. Rosa smiled fondly as she played with Catherine's hair. I'm the lucky one, Catherine. Took me home, treating me like I was family. Wouldn't have known what a real family was like without you, Papa Francois, Emile. Even Papa Francois always did avoid me. I knew he cared for me like his own. Yes, why is that? That was why I liked him. A good man. And you know, he was almost family too. Catherine made a face at the mention of the man, but her eyes softened. I miss my father. Me too. There was a pause. Catherine shifted awkwardly in her skin. Can I tell you a secret? Of course. Me and I, we haven't had intercourse. Recently? No, I mean, at all. Oh. Rosa cleared her throat. I see. After all these years? Well, after the first time, never again. Rosa blushed. Her head knitted together images of the two people she considered her friends. Rosa tried to push them away. All she was able to do was paint the warped fantasies in Grasmere and Fuzz. She cleared her throat. Is that why you have separate rooms even when we moved here to the chateau? No, that was his idea. He's very peculiar with his sleep. Imagine we'll be keeping the separate bedrooms even when we get married. I don't really mind. Well, your wedding is soon, isn't it? Perhaps you're just nervous. No, I don't think it's like that. Recently, we get intimate. I always thought when Danes got sultry. Oh. He gets upset sometimes, but he says it's alright. Catherine looked down ruefully on her toes. He doesn't push me into it. I'm really glad. But don't you think it's strange? What if I stay like this even after we get married? Don't understand why. Sometimes I get these doubts, and I wonder why they are there. Isn't that unfair to him? I just feel like there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. But it makes me really insecure. It's a lack of... you know. What if he's getting this somewhere else? It drives me crazy. Believe me, I want to. I just can't for some reason. I get this horrible feeling I can't explain. Rosa examined Catherine's face, came to a conclusion. It took me a while to understand sex. The sudden, no-nonsense comment surprised Catherine. Rosa went on. Same as you. I always had an adverse feeling for it. It's dirty, and I should be ashamed for enjoying it. I always thought love would make sex clean. That's not how it works. They're two separate things. But just because you don't like sex, doesn't mean you don't love him, Kath. Catherine looked up at her. Why do you even care so much to hurt him? What do you think love is? A warm feeling returned to Catherine's heart. Why do you do that? Huh? Always know the right thing to say. Always. Rosa blushed at this, suddenly aware that they were still in a loose tangle of an embrace. I've read a lot of smart books lately. Tried to diffuse the situation with a laugh. Catherine didn't drop her look. And a light played pretty shadows on her skin. They illuminated the glint in her eyes, moist on her lips. Rosa felt the warmth of the alcohol rise up to her face. Her heartbeats increased steadily. Anyway, maybe you'll feel better about it when you're married. You're probably just nervous about the whole thing. She made attempts to curl away from Catherine's arms. Slowly, subtly, run away. Dispersed the proximity, but she couldn't run away from her stare. Catherine's hand caressed Rosa's face. She touched her scars daintily, tracing them with her fingers. You're really pretty, Rosa. Especially when you smile. Thank you. Thank you, I think. You don't believe me? I don't think I am. I look in the mirror and I see a freak. Rosa. That's not true. It is fine. I like being a freak. I wanted to be ugly. To bind my breasts and hide in the shabbiest clothes I could find. Rosa judged her eye. This was penance, she remembered herself saying. Being a sinner and a freak. Acting attention in spite. For dressing nicely. Letting her hair grow long. But really, I did this to myself. To hide. To hide? Rosa's mouth quivered. Stop people. Don't touch ugly things. The truth is, they do. What I'd rather be is invisible. Catherine wrapped her arms around Rosa's neck. She heard Catherine sniff and wipe tears behind her embrace. She pushed Rosa's hair away and kissed her defective eye. You're not a freak. You're not ugly. I love every part of you. You're all beautiful. Rosa forgot how close they were now. Forgot Catherine's hands on her own. Here was somebody who accepted her, with all her faults and ugliness. Always made me feel I'm worth something. Because you are. You're beautiful, Rosa. Inside and out. Rosa saw her face reflected in Catherine's eyes. Then she indeed looked beautiful. A lump formed in Rosa's throat. Catherine's face hovered above her cheek. Planted a little seed of a kiss on it, just barely away from her lips. Rosa kissed her nose in return. Made Catherine giggle. At first, the kisses were sweet, innocent, kind of punch-drink kisses that sent them both into loud giggling. Catherine's hand caressed her neck. Kisses lingered. Smelled it. Hands explored. And Rosa sucked on Catherine's tongue inside her mouth. Wine. Candle wax. Spit. That what it tasted like. Rosa's head began to swoon. Catherine's hand squeezed her right breast. Tripe. Grapes. Blush. Rosa began to taste more of her. Longing. regrets, tears. A sensation of flavor she had never tasted before hovered at the edge of her tongue. Suddenly she was hungry for it. Take it all. Rosa savored the taste. She breathed, all mine, child. I want it. Heart. I want her heart. Her love is sweet. Listen to my voice. Mother? But I'm so hungry. So hungry. Stop. Rosa flung her eyes open. A sinking feeling of menace overcame her. No! Rosa pulled away. Pushed Captain away from her face. His eyes snapped open, startled by Rosa's outburst. Why did you stop? Greedy, selfish, beep. She blinked for a few seconds. A look of horror creeped on her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... No, Cat. Rosa couldn't stand the hurt in her eyes. She was probably blaming herself. Rosa wanted to shout how wrong she was. The lump in her throat became a rapturous mouth. A tumor had grown inside of her, a parasite. She could feel it pulse and slither inside her neck. She couldn't speak at all. Catherine wobbled off the bed. She wiped her mouth and cheeks, which were covered with a thin layer of drool. I'm so sorry, Rosa. I'm going to leave now. Cav. Good night. Rosa should have followed her, but when she tried to stand, the floor twirled, choked at the flavor left in her throat, sick and cloying, sticky sweet like honey. The taste both repulsed and enticed her. Thick spit leaked out of her mouth. She felt the urge to vomit. This is nothing, Mother. Just a bad after effect of alcohol. No, please don't call me that. It was an accident. Everything is fine. She would talk to Captain tomorrow. Assure her that this was not her fault. Everything was fine. There was an urgent knock on Gumin's door. Clock read 2:15 in the morning. He closed the journal and stood up from his desk. Yes, coming. He opened his door. Catherine stood in front of him, her cheeks stained with hastily wiped tears. F? Gumi, let me talk. Oh, isn't it quite late? Please, it's urgent. Oh, alright. Me led her inside. Lady, you smell like my vintage bottle of Burrigan. You get so drunk you actually thought of apologizing first. I didn't think I'd see the day. Jetty, what's wrong? Catherine's tongue went to her mouth without thinking. How could she even begin to tell Gumi what she had done? Honey, I was really upset with you today. But despite any good sense, I went and got myself drunk. This time, I dragged Rosa along with me. Things have a tendency to go out of hand when alcohol is involved, as you know. Long story short, I came on to Rosa. No, Rosa? The girl who's almost like my sister? Yes. I may have forced myself on her. And I did that right after she told me she had been abused before. She felt Gumin's hand take her thumb away from her mouth. F. She looked at her fingers in horror. Habit had surfaced again. She thought she had gotten rid of this as she grew up, placing the nail biting with a meticulous, almost obsessive care from her fingers. Fingers are my livelihood. I must take care of them. Now the nails were chewed down to jagged stumps. A couple of them had tiny blistering cuts. F. You talk. Ethan's eyes snapped back to Gumi as if he had just materialized in the room beside her. So, just like I was saying, darling, what's the worst thing? Which is the worst thing? What do you think? The implied incest, my abuse of my best friend, or my infidelity to you? Or if that doesn't cut it, dear, may I divulge to you one last point? I felt something worrying. I kissed her. Excitement. If she hadn't stopped me, else would have felt so real. It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like I had always been there, very deeply. So much so that I felt like cheating. It felt like a craving. I wanted it. It was something I haven't felt with you when we. Why is this happening? I don't know. Even know who I am anymore. F, you're scaring me. Tell me what's wrong. You still want to marry me? You still love me if you knew? I wouldn't. I can't even look at myself in the mirror. But I think I know who I am now. I'm a selfish, deprived beep. I've always been the controlling, jealous lover to you. And just one night of drunken frenzy, I took advantage of the two care for the most. Not enough wine to justify this. I want to call off the engagement. At first, Catherine saw that Gumi treated it as a joke. The panic in his eyes set in immediately. What? I said, I'm calling off the engagement. But I refuse. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. I'm leaving tomorrow. No. Until you tell me what's wrong. Gumi's eyes didn't flinch. These were the looks he gave her that melted her heart. They were so sure and steadfast in their care. Just fighting this morning, a fight she had started, as usual. There was no doubt in his eyes at all. If she were to see that certainty fade away from his eyes, she knew it would break her. Is it about the fight earlier? Because, Cav, I swear to you, I haven't done any of the. No. Hearing him reinstate his devotion to her just made it more painful. Tears pooled in her eyes and fell in huge, ugly gobs. So well, he thought he could hold it in until she left. She wiped her tears as best as she could. More kept pouring out. It isn't about that. Then what is it? What do you want me to do? Whatever it is, I should do it. This was so hard. Why does this have to be so hard? Why does she even go here? Because she wanted to see his face. She wondered what it would be like for a cheater to go back to the arms of her lover. Would it change somehow? Did she still love him? Could she even tell? All her emotions were wrapped in a thick layer of guilt. Hard to distinguish every painful thought. She started to sob now. Yes, indeed. Ugly, unflattering snorts came out of her nose. It felt comforting to hold on to guilt. An existence made the hatred toward herself bite less. Cap, please, tell me what's bothering you. I don't deserve you. I'm a horrible person. You have to find someone else to marry. Catherine let the words tumble out of her mouth, slightly relieved to be rid of them. She looked tearfully up at Gumi, to gauge his reaction, but he just stared back at her blankly. Why wouldn't he say anything? He sobbed, screaming the worst. Gumi cleared his throat hesitantly. Could you, repeat that? He cupped his hands to his ear and angled it closer to her face. Apparently hadn't caught any of her heartfelt words. Catherine snarled angrily at him. You idiot. I'm having a breakdown here. But I didn't understand what you said. You said you ought to find someone else because I am a horrible person. Gumi pulled her to him. Oh, that's it? Whoever made you think that I'll accept that reason? Catherine's tears soaked his shirt. You don't know what I've done. Tell me. Hate me. I guarantee it. You punch a baby? No. Inside joke made her laugh out of the blue. Buried her face in his chest in a half sob, half laugh. Suddenly her doubts were cleared. Suddenly she didn't want to marry anyone else. Catherine's arms tightened around Gumi's waist. I've been taking you for granted, haven't I? I've been arrogant, expecting you to always adjust to me and my whims. A new fervor sprung out of her love for him. I don't deserve you right now. I'll work on that if you give me another chance. First, she would tell him what she had done. Then it would be up to him if he still wanted her. He deserved that decision. But I did. Okumi stopped her with a kiss on her forehead. Tomorrow, after a hearty breakfast and a good night's rest, I'll listen to what you have to say. Well, I'm quite sure my answer will be the same. Nathan's face melted into a smile, and he blinked at her. My star finally smiles. Her eyes. Love you so much. She sighed with content. Part of her anxiety put to rest. I do. I really do. She whispered the last one under her breath, as if trying to console herself. I mean, yes, dear. You make love to me. His brows shot up in surprise. Right, right now? Yes. No. Well, if you're not ready, later is also fine. Or tomorrow. But since it's already morning, technically it's today, right? His head tilted slightly, an amused smirk plastered on his face. Please, take me seriously, Gumi. This is important to me. I have to know. I have to make sure. Sure. Make sure of what? Catherine. Mia held her hand. You're tired. Just a little bit, bar me. More than usual, I mean. What we will do. Mia guided the woman to the bed and sat her down. You're going to lay onto the bed. I'm going to pat your hair until you fall asleep. I shall skip work today. Have that trifling little talk you want. And as such, you're still in the love-making type of mood. Then, mademoiselle, I will take you up on your offer. Catherine's eyes moistened. This time they were happy tears. I love you. Remy shrugged and lifted Catherine's legs up onto the bed. I love you too. Aren't you lucky? Save it. Climbed on the bed beside her. Catherine draped her arm over him. He searched for her hand, brought her up to his lips, and patted it. She closed her eyes and rested her head on his chest, comforted by the warmth of his embrace. Cha, Osho, can I ask you something? Hmm? Why do you love me so much? He moved for a while. Is that a true question? Feels like a true question. And whined. Alright, I shall humor you for now, because you are in such a pathetic state. I love you simply. This is easy to love you, darling. You are my star, my light, bright always. Make me want to do by you, be a better person. You aren't even my wife yet. The townspeople are already calling you their lady. I have to hand you the marquito. I may have to hand you the marquito myself. That's only because everyone in town knows who I am. I wonder why that is. Is it because you help sell vegetables in the marketplace on weekends? Or because you conspire with my cooks to hold impromptu picnics with the locals? You know about that? One can only sneak out that much food without getting noticed, madame. It amuses me how the servants cover for you upon inquiry as well. It was my idea. They're not to blame. I know, darling. I know. Umi checked and kissed her temple. It goes to show how your presence uplifts everyone's lives, including mine. Honestly, those reasons aren't exactly why. I love you, Calf. I just do. Beyond what I thought I was capable of. His heart cracked with that last utterance. Have I did something bad? You still love me? Yes, I would. Are you sure? I'm sure. What if I hurt an innocent person? What if I hurt you? She bit her lip. What if I was unfaithful? He stared at her questioningly. Catherine buried her face in his chest. He felt his hand smooth away her hair. He whispered gently into her ear, "If you would still have me, back to me." Oh, what happened doesn't matter at all. You are not your mistakes, Calf. Camille cleared his throat. Suddenly he seemed to have trouble breathing. You have the power to change. How about you? I told you that. I am not what I say I am. What do you mean? Never mind. It's a silly question. What? Something bothering you, Chow? He turned his head away, closed his eyes. Nothing, darling. You should sleep now. Nothing patted away the frown on his brow. She traced his chest with her fingers. You mean, love you. Now, I am more than certain. It gives my heart happiness to know for sure. What reminded me was generosity. You, every bit of yourself to the people you love. That is I have to, darling. Always inspired me, Chow. I have always looked up to you. Treat everyone, no matter their status, with kindness. Never have I met a man more generous and thoughtful about others. A man with so much love to give. And that's why I love you. You are a good man. But if that's not what I really am. Catherine shook her head. Can't fake sacrifice, Monsieur. I've seen you care for the people in this town. I've seen how you love me. I don't care how much for intention you see. It's what we actually do that binds us. Gumi paused, his voice choked up from his throat. Not always. Not always. He found Catherine's head on his face and squeezed it. He stretched her neck and kissed his cheek. Catherine, you were always scared I will leave you. But the truth is, I know it is you who will leave me. And it hurts. What? You different. I've loved you for so long. It scares me how I've proved myself. Sometimes I deem it better to end this wretched existence. To save you from. What are you talking about, Gumi? Not making any sense. Is it your turn to scare me? Sorry. He didn't speak for a while. Air became a little uncomfortable. I could feel Gumi's stressful breathing on her forehead. Wonder what Gumi was talking about. It didn't even seem like he wanted to discuss it further. When Gumi started to calm down, Catherine thought it was best to ask him about it the next day. Gumi spoke again. His voice was low, serious. Catherine, you love me. With all my heart, Gulumi. I've loved you for what it seems like my whole life. The candle flickered. He slipped his hands on his hair, gently pushed her face towards his. She closed her eyes and let the sensation of his lips take her. His mouth left sweet traces on her skin, as if washing away her sins, blessing her, anointing her. The taste of salt in his kiss, like the taste of tears, wanted to take away all his sorrows. Me held her tightly, longingly. She drowned herself in his embrace. His palm caressed her neck as he kissed her, sliding down her arm and the curve of her waist. His fingers tugged gently on her skin, then darted her tongue inside his mouth. Camille answered it with his own. She wanted his every kiss. It felt pleasure to know he was hers. Her hands ran up and down his back as her kisses grew heavier. I felt him get excited. She moved her hand between his legs. F. Let's stop. or tired. Catherine looked into his eyes and saw he wanted her despite his protests. After the event of the night, there was a despair in Catherine that longed to be quenched. It was a selfish atonement, perhaps a hunger for self-worth. She ran her tongue over his lips. I want this. F. Catherine straddled him, in her head and plunging her tongue deep into his mouth. She opened his shirt, nibbling on his ear as she did. She could feel his manhood alive on her thigh. Moved her hips. A distraught moan left his throat. Bit her lip coyly. Made her want to do more. Clench on his jaw. His aroused breath poured of his neck. Her little top, they were her little trophy, her bliss. Catherine pulled his shirt free, traced a finger down his bare stomach, the rhythm on her lips. Opened his mouth, his eyes flirting, fluttering. She watched in ecstasy as he bit his lip. To know that he couldn't resist her made her swell with pride. Gumi grinded over. He began to answer her passion with his own energy. He sat up on the bed, finally reaching for her, finally giving in. Felt like a victory to her. Gumi grabbed her neck and pulled her face to him. His tongue bored deeply into her. Catherine pulled on his hair, surprised at his sudden intensity. Heat ran through her body. He savored his dominance. His lips ran down her neck to her chest. He sucked on her collarbone while working the buttons on her blouse. He slipped the garment down with his teeth and kissed the bare skin experimentally. Every nerve felt tender. Every length of skin felt raw. It was a reminder that her wearance, her flesh was a living thing. There was a built-up tension as he squeezed her breast, planting soft, tiny kisses on its fullness. His hands hovered near her crotch. A stray finger would brush her sensitive spots almost innocently. Drove her mad. He was teasing her, studying her reactions with every touch. Catherine drew a sharp breath as Gumi sucked on her nipple. His tongue played with it. It was hard and pert. Catherine felt like a melting candle. Hot, blaze, dripping, dying in her own heat. Her heart began to pace in time with her kisses, growing steadily heavier, beating louder. Sweet affection to wanton lust. He whispered her name and it sent a violent tremor throughout her skin. It was starting her torso, surging through her, starting the roots of her hair. Throat made short, hurt sounds. She would usually stop here. Some apathy would take hold of her and she would stop. Now, this wasn't like the other times. Catherine felt a hot throbbing at the pit of her stomach. The clench in her body wound her up tighter and tighter, putting her in danger of release. This different. This was. You love me, Catherine. Tell me I. Voice came out throaty and thick. Gumi laid her down on the bed. His fingers slipped easily inside her, the sensation smooth like silk. She felt him moving around inside, pressing on her walls experimentally. It didn't take long for him to find her weakness. He surprisingly, willingly adapt. Catherine squirmed. He didn't have time to marvel at his expertise. His left hand massaged her breast while the other tickled the lips of her opening. His little finger petted her other hole. Mi's lips ran down her shoulders. She barely noticed him slipping another finger inside. When she did, her mind went white. A few seconds. A sharp breath. A sigh. Her hips were moving on their own while their tongues flickered and danced. Another heart seemed to beat and throb fiercely in her groin. She fell for him. She found his shaft stiff under his trousers. She squeezed his stiffness, eager for his girth. Cloth against flesh, soft against hard, lips and teeth, spit and sweat. Their bodies began to rock together. Their breaths were hot and audible. Umi dug his tongue on the hollow of her neck. Catherine whined. The soft sounds returned to her lips. Umi covered them with his mouth. A voice echoed in their heads. He wanted to scream. The scream would come from very deep. You love me. Oh God. Oh God, I love you. He said in an urgent, desperate frenzy. In and out, his fingers wet, each time touching her place. With every movement, he seemed to steal her breath. Faster now. As he twitched, something snapped inside of her. Her toes curled, and his squeals escaped through her nose. Opened her eyes. Felt something alarming as she stared up at him. It looked like Umi in the shadows, and lit by candlelight. His features were the same. His eyes were in the same place. His nose and lips were the same shape. This man was a stranger. I cared for her. How a snake didn't care for its prey. For a brief second she was afraid. A tiny voice told her away. That voice was washed away by a wave of carnal desire. The stranger grinned at Catherine. Mine. Faster now. Deeper his kisses went, as if reaching for something inside her. His weight on her body excited her. Also felt like a prison. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit, run! Catherine viciously devoured his lips. Their hands cruised south, kneading and clutching greedily. Her legs were draped in around his waist. Force overtook her. Hunger. Comes the farmer's gun. He tried to ignore the growing coldness in his eyes. He tried to ignore the way her body moved on his own. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit, run. Her hands found the clasps of his trousers. She undid them. Quickly now. Quickly. Clutched his hardness, moving her hand up and down. Catherine's mouth salivated. He bit her on her shoulders. He felt more of his teeth than his lips on her body. Catherine scolded herself for being aroused. Her mounting terror only served to aggravate her urges. She wanted this. I want this. She was hungry. I am hungry. She heard the man snicker. He wants his farmer's pie. Don't stand idly by. Run, rabbit, run. He entered her without warning. Catherine gasped. The shiver was from both pleasure and fear. A dangerous mix. It was cruel. There was no warmth. It was cold, hard greed. And yet, she couldn't help but want him. She pushed her hips to move with him. She wanted to please him. Slowly at first, savoring the warmth of this new territory. Then faster, keeping a steady pace. Catherine's voice kept in time. Her breaths were high and hot. With every movement, Catherine felt her energy wither away. A hazy, nauseous feeling of malady was clawing at her. What was missing? What was taken away? She didn't know what was gone until it was. The final scream of protest died in her mind, the last that was left out of her lucidity. The urge to escape left. More reasons to stop. Catherine moaned. Stop? No. I must not stop. I didn't even think that. What if he hate her? It was an agonizing thought. She had to give him more. More. His eyes observed her with cold amusement. Catherine touched his chest in reverence. His eyes were cold, but his body was like fire. In her mind's eye, it started to become something else. A winged creature engulfed in flame, both hot and cold and magnificent, both beautiful and terrible, both dark and light. At times she would be on the bed with a man she might remember as one she once loved. Other times she would be floating, suspended, over a dark chasm of flesh. There was a creature with her, somebody she both loathed and adored. Sometimes there were two people. Sometimes it was only him. Only him. The woman called Captain didn't exist. She was merely an extension of his mind. Soon all of her would be gone, little by little, disintegrating to be a part of him forever. Captain screamed. He came again with that thought. Oh, bless. She was prepared to give him everything to him. Didn't even seem a worthy sacrifice to lay at his feet. No, all he asked for was her heart. Small, pathetic pain had always been his anyway. He gave it gleefully. His eyes, he was so generous and considerate, malevolent, fair. She savored his fullness inside her body. She worshipped him. He was her god. Please, want me. Please, find me pretty. Craved his love above everything else. Felt fear and confusion. Felt the mourning as something precious lost. Love me, please. Love me. She begged. Anything for you. Anything? Her lips did not move, save for a smile. The words simply dropped in her head, echoed and took root. His eyes lost their glimmer. Anything. Then tell me again. I want to hear it. You love me, Catherine. I. Her name, his lips, only a reminder of her former self. I do. I love you. I love you so much. These words, she felt him stiffen inside her. Faster, aroused by her devotion to him. A wave of fire burnt her lips as their mouths entwined. His passion heightened. His back arched. Sweat beaded on his forehead and traced his temple. What a wondrous sight. Eyes beginning to thaw, sun on the verge of eclipse. His coldness replaced by a radiating heart, melded and fastened her to him like fire with metal. She felt another orgasm threaten her insides. Really? You really love me? Yes, she screamed. Yes. Candle fizzled out. Beneath the depths of her hazy mind, she was relieved she didn't have to look at his face. Tastes just like the richest chocolate, finest wine. Can't stop. Her whole body shivers with the taste of her. Her breath on my neck, her fingers scratching at my back. The sound she makes as I push into her. Her lust gives me sustenance. Faster, to devour her faster. Stop. I knew waiting so long would be worth it. I have been her lover for years. Its flavor is divine. My head spins. My appetite swells. I can't stop. I bind her hand into a tight grip, push them above her head. Her legs squeeze my waist. I can feel her excitement mounting with her helplessness. Lick my lips in the light. I haven't breathed so for a long time. Taking too much. Her love is exquisite. It's laced with anger, reverence, disappointment, pain, memories, all different relishes, morsels melting into one. Stop it. Her love is a delicacy. Destroying her. I can't stop myself. I haven't tasted this kind of love for so long. Patience and physical attraction could only get me by for so long. I was going to wait. There is a warning in her love, waning in for her love, confusion, doubt, but that hoping of guilt tinged flavor perfectly. Must feed now. Her love is the most perfect tonight. My body wants her. I couldn't stop now, even if I wanted to. Liar. I almost let you escape. Save her. I almost ran away. I love her. I love her. And tomorrow, maybe, what would become of her? We'll find another next time. Something insignificant. I want to relish this taste a bit more. No, no! The mounting pleasure in my bones claps on my groin. The numbness spreads to my stomach. It is almost painful. It moves me to increase my rhythm. She follows my lead. Good girl, good girl. With every move, I feel her love goes most into my other mouth. She clings to me. Mouths louder, her moans louder. Her bare chest glistens with sweat. She is beautiful. It won't be long now. Final drawing a breath. You love me, Catherine. Give me all your love. All of it. Give it to me. I want it all. It's mine. It's mine. Mine. Catherine, give me more. I want more. 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 Rosa stood in front of the door to Catherine's room. Her hand raised to knock, but she didn't move. That was creeping into her mind like a spider crawling on a wall. She remembered the feeling of hunger from the night they had kissed. It was both familiar and utterly alien, like an instinct, urge she hadn't felt for a long time. A shiver ran down her spine at the memory. She's a she's avoiding me, isn't she? She hadn't seen Catherine for a few days since that night. She'd been spending a lot of her time alone, locked away in her room. Whenever Rosa saw her in the chateau, she would excuse herself and leave. Rosa never got the courage to push the issue. Days had passed, and Catherine's behavior began to worry her even more. She's just selfish, just like everyone else. What do you expect? She's selfish, like everybody else. She used you as an experiment, and now that her curiosity is sated, she's done with you. Don't matter to her. Probably never did. Which is a good thing, darling. See your true face. No matter. Never going to love you like mother does. Like all of the others, she's going to leave you in the end. Then you're all alone. My mother will stay with you forever and love you. Be a good child and listen to what I tell you. Rosa bit her lower lip. All her fault, wasn't it? She needed to make it right. If Rosa talked to her properly, she was sure they would come to an understanding. She had to explain to her. What exactly? They'd both been drunk and the kisses didn't mean anything. Her stomach churned at this thought. In the end, it didn't matter what Rosa wanted. Catherine obviously regretted what had happened. She didn't want to lose her friend because of too much wine. Rosa gently knocked on Catherine's door. Catherine, can I come in? Please, please, Catherine. I'm sorry for the mess. Can we talk? Rosa waited for an answer. None came. Rosa turned the handle slowly and entered. Usually Catherine's room was brightly lit. The windows let in a fresh breeze, often carrying the sweet smell of flowers in spring. Right now, however, the curtains were drawn closed. A few candles burning on a desk weren't enough to banish the darkness completely. The air hung heavy in the room. Catherine didn't turn around when the door opened. She just stood there, unmoving, in front of a wall. The sounds of something scratching along a rough surface filled the air. Rosa felt a shiver run down her spine at the sound, and her muscles tensed instinctively. She approached Catherine slowly, apprehensively. When she came closer, she could hear that Catherine was whispering the same few words, over, over again. He loves me. He loves me now. Catherine giggled. Loves me. Loves me now. Catherine, are you alright? Rosa stepped next to Catherine and peered at her outstretched hand. In the dim light, it took a moment for her to make sense of what she saw. Catherine was scratching at the wall. The damage she had done to the wall was nothing compared to what she had done to her fingers. They were dripping with blood from where her skin was cracked and peeled back. Gav! Oh my god, Captain, stop! Rosa's gut twisted horribly. He grabbed Catherine's shoulders to turn her around and away from the wall. She blinked a couple of times before finally reaching to Rosa's presence. Tears welled up in Catherine's bloodshot eyes at the sight of her friend, spilling over her pale cheeks and chapped lips. She held on tightly to Rosa and started sobbing uncontrollably. Gav, what's going on? Why are you hurting yourself? Catherine tried to pull herself together as best she could, wiping her nose on the sleeve of her bloody dress. It was heart-wrenching to look at the mess that her friend had become. Oh, Rosa, you need to help me. You need to protect me from him. Don't let him touch me. Oh, then what? Why do you need me to protect you? Suddenly, Catherine touched her, finger to her lips, a scared expression on her face. She leaned an ear towards the door and listened intensely for a moment. Here, the scared expression turned into maniac and frightening glee. I think he's coming. Kill me, honey. Kill me, and I love you. After yelling the last words, Catherine started sobbing again, with more tears streaming down her face. Before Rosa could try to console her, however, her sobs faded into hysterical laughter. It barely left time for her to gasp for breath. Oh, Gumi, I love the way you pull me close to hug me. And how kind you are to everyone you meet. Your eyes. Your eyes. What's going on here? Gumi stood in the door, frowning. Eyes wandered across the room and caught sight of Catherine. His face froze in shock. Catherine stared wide-eyed for a second, then she snarled at him like a ferocious animal. You deep! Get out of my room! Get lost! She stormed over to the desk and grabbed the letter opener from the table. With this weapon in a firm grip and malice in her eyes, she rushed to Gumi. Don't you dare show your face to me! Catherine, no! The knife plunged into Gumi's arm. Blood quickly stained its sleeves red. Catherine only recoiled to strike back with no hint of stopping. Oh my god! Catherine! He wrestled for a moment until Gumi was able to grab Catherine's hand. She dropped the letter opener, slumped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Rosa quickly picked up the blade and stepped out of reach. When she turned around again, Gumi had already pulled Catherine into a tight embrace. Between her sobs and hiccups, Rosa could hear her apologizing. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Gumi. What? I'm so sorry. Do you love me? It's Gumi. Do you love me? She repeated the question over and over again, no matter how many times Gumi reassured her. It was probably a good idea to find something to calm her down. Rosa didn't feel completely at ease doing so. She left her friend alone with the Marquise for a few minutes. Later, she returned with a glass of water laced with valerian root. Gumi had already coaxed Catherine to lay down on her bed, and Rosa helped her drink the nightcap. He watched her in silence as she drifted into a fitful sleep. Gumi and Rosa left the room. They didn't speak for a while, still dazed and shocked by the turn of events. How was your arm? Gumi hid the injured arm away from view. Fine. It's just a scratch. The bleeding hadn't stopped yet. Rose could tell the cut was deeper than Gumi let on. What is happening? What's gotten into Catherine? Gumi just shrugged with a cold expression of worry on his face. I wish I knew, Rosa. The state she's in scares me, to be honest. An onset of an episode waiting to happen. Her sister before. Rosa's mouth tightened. Dare you say that? She is not crazy. Rosa searched his face for traces of a lie. It was like a mask contorted by worry. Couldn't tell whether he was lying or telling the truth. She asked me to protect her from you. Did you hurt her? You know I wouldn't. She is unwell. Seems I am the target of her psychotic state. That is all I know. Why? Stop. Stop it, Rosa. It hurts me too seeing her like this. Please stop questioning me further. I'm going to call for a physician. Please stay with her in the meantime. See that she doesn't harm herself again. For a moment he met her eyes. Before she could say more, however, he turned around and left. See if his pants have caught the fire yet, child. There's nothing she can do about him for now. Rosa left to get a bowl of fresh water and a towel to send to Catherine's fingers. I'm gonna save it here. I think that's it for today. Thanks for anybody who stayed and watched. Please leave a like, comment down below, and share. Oh, and tell your friends to come and watch me read some visual novels and some other games too. Alright, see you people, and have a great day.